Lucky Lefty podcast presented by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. This is Three's Company's edition right here. Go to patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Don't forget part 2 of the exclusive interview with 2025 Notre Dame quarterback commit Deuce Knight drops this Saturday over at patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Man, all of the shows are in development. Can't wait for these shows to start dropping. We're giving you at least 5 shows, right? Just 5 shows right off the bat. We're looking to get it up to 10. I'm excited about what we're doing, fellas. We're building something good. I have with me, of course, ONORA boys in the building, Left himself, and our brother from another mother. Absolutely. You already know it is Kenton Gibbs, locked on ACC, locked on College Football Live, and locked on Wolfpack. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
It's a good day. Good day.
Man.
Another day getting closer to the worst part of sports during the year. There's no football, and it's going to be rough.
That's no Thursday night football, waiting for the combine. Yo, it is what it is. It is what it is. But tonight, fellas, we're going to talk about this way too early top 25 that has been shaken up by what is a crazy topsy-turvy last month in college football and continues to change on a daily basis, it seems. It is the best soap opera going in sports right now. And then we're going to talk about the SP Plus. But as always, smoking brought to you by Fashion Geek, AlonzoJackson.com. Fashion Geek, we run the city. So, hey, Left, EA Sports dropped the trailer today, bro.
That's right.
They dropped the trailer. Of course, for marketing purposes, it's always smart to include Notre Dame. You got to put in the play like a champion board. You got to coming down the stairs, smacking it.
There's no college football without that sign.
Well, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, you know. So I want to ask a question. And it was asked by, I'll give credit to Tyler Horker, who covers Notre Dame. He brought the question up. And I thought it was a very interesting question because this is the revitalization of college football from EA Sports.
Yeah.
Who was the biggest miss that didn't get a chance to be on EA college football? Like, who was the biggest miss? Like, who would you have loved to play with that you didn't get to play with because the game went away?
Easily Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson's at the top of my list. I would agree. KG, how do you see it?
So here's the only problem with Lamar. His teammates were backwater. Them boys did not put nobody in the league.
Oh, wait a minute. He had Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell was a freshman when he was there.
And but he had him now.
And what is Tutu Atwell doing right now in the league? How's he doing?
He's doing nice for the Rams.
How's he doing?
He's a nice third string receiver for the Rams.
There's some guy named Cooper over there that I know that catch passes. There's some guy named Puka. There's some guy named Puka over there that
just got passes. There.
It's some tight end, Tyler something, Rigby, something along those lines. He over there.
The Lions just tore him up.
Tutu been real quiet. Tutu been 1-1. He been real. He been low. He ain't been the guy you thought he was gonna be. So I like Lamar. That's a great. Let me tell you something. I love Lamar. He's the reason. He was the first ever player that I watched after I was forced into retirement due to injury. I watched him and I said, you know what? I watched him play NC State and said, you know what? I'm good to not be on the field no more. I'm all right with being done. I'm all right. You know, this side of retirement ain't bad. I ain't got to chase guys like that no more. But I would have to say it's not just a guy, it's a team. That Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne combo with Dexter Lawrence on the defense, Skalski and Bullware at linebacker, AJ Terrell at corner. You know what I mean? That team was crazy. I'm just saying they were they were whooping the wheels off folks. They were beating people down so bad. It hurt my feelings to watch that a little bit. And you know, I ain't got no hatred towards Clemson at all. But the way they was whooping those folks, I was like, Dabo, ease up off them, man. Stall them out, Dabo. That's how bad it got.
I mean, it was only like two good. It was like two dominant teams, and everybody else is kind of in the middle of the road when Clemson was at that level.
That's fair. That's fair. But they had
so
many
this is like the year to play, though. This is why EA's smart.
Yeah.
Because they knew that the playoffs would make it all better because the last 10 years of college football has been very monotonous. But you're going to put the game out when Georgia's at the beginning of the dynasty or at the middle where they just the best team on the game. You're like, oh, this is not even fun to play. Now, if you put the game out right now, who's the most dominant team? I'll play with North Carolina State have a chance.
Yeah.
Because I know they're going to have a playoff system in there. Hey, who knows?
Hey, listen, I'm looking forward to building up I'm looking forward to building up one of those Ivy Leagues or HBCU into a national powerhouse.
Ooh.
I can't wait. Y'all ain't seen nothing till I cook up at Alcorn State. Y'all ain't seen nothing till I get my hands on them Southern Jaguars. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet.
So you would have been dope. You would have been feeling really good if it had come out when Prime had gotten down to Jackson State.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I would have probably, because see, these people talk about starting off as a head coach somewhere. They don't remember the true grind when you start off as an offensive or defensive coordinator at a school and you had to achieve certain milestones, and then other schools would offer you a job and you go from like being a defensive coordinator at some lowly school to then being offered a head coach at like your conference rival or something. And then you ball out there, do great things, build that team up to the #1 team in the nation. And then you get to Notre Dame. Then you get the Ohio State, the Michigan, the USCs, the Texases of the world. But see, people coming out the gates too hot talk about, oh yeah, I can't wait to go 14-0 with the Bulldogs. They're already doing that. Georgia's already doing that. What are we doing here? You got to appreciate the slow grind of when you got to recruit those 70 overalls, and then you get to that higher level and you get those players that's coming in at 80 and 82.
So you can't go in and upgrade the 70 overalls, bro. You don't go that route.
No. I let that thing develop. You understand? Because you can't appreciate when you snatching the 80s up out of the panhandle if you was not there to get the 70s out of Wyoming. You know what I mean? Like, when you was trying to build a pipeline for your school and you like, I'm the Idaho Vandals, man. We don't got no pipeline besides Idaho, North Dakota, and South Dakota. And they don't produce no ball players over here. But I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, if you a real gamer, if you a yearner for the game, for the competition, you start off at that small school. And then you raise up to go over it and go slap the play like a champion sign every single Saturday. You know what I mean? Let me tell you.
It's different now. They got the NIL. They're going to have NIL news on there.
And
you're starting quarterback at Rutgers. And then all of a sudden they get the NIL. Oh, they just paid Penn State transfer $2 million to come to Rutgers.
And watch this.
You gonna transfer?
They'll know the real deal of when your game wasn't nationally televised and you was playing in them small schools, so you wouldn't even have no announcers. You were just playing in silence, just nothing but crowd noise for about 15 to 20 minutes. And you sit up there like, man, where Kirk Herbstreit them at, man? What's going on? And then you got up. You know what I mean? Now these new kids, they in the instant gratification, they in the TikTok, they in the 6 seconds. You know what I mean? They in the my attention span is that long, but in our day, you had to build that program up. Malik know what I'm talking about, because that looked like a man that spent some time on that game. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you turn Navy into the greatest fighting force on the football field. That's all I'm saying. That's you can do.
Absolutely. I just remember us waiting. The last year was my first year in college, and man, we went to Walmart as a team to get the game as soon as it came out. We played it all night, had all of us in it. It was just a good experience, and it was done. But to play it again now, hopefully they have older teams you can play with. Yeah, just because, I mean, that's the they probably have, in-app purchases where they make the game where you can purchase older teams to play with that were real nice. That'd be cool. But other than that, I mean, hey, this game now that you put out, it can run in many different ways that I can compete with Madden.
So let me ask y'all a question that's gonna shake up the table real quick, and then we can move on to what you got, Sean. But if there was an all-time Notre Dame team, what position do you know we would have to leave off a great? As much as we love them, we may not be able to include a great for this position.
Oh, that's easy. Offensive line. Somebody's getting left out. Somebody at left tackle is getting left out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Like Quentin, I think Quentin is an automatic.
Quentin.
But I mean, dude, Ronnie, Aaron Taylor, Joe Alt, like who? Somebody's getting left off.
That's fair. That's fair.
Somebody's getting left off at left tackle.
I look at the history of Notre Dame running backs, and I'm like, y'all done had some great ones now. Y'all done had it. It's going to be tough to fit all of them on the roster because you can only get about 3, maybe 4 on there.
Is Chubb NC State's greatest player or Joe Tooney? I think it's Joe Tooney, but is Chubb the greatest player for NC State?
Do we have amnesia today? Is a quarterback?
It's a quarterback that played for the Chargers, bro.
Forgetting one of the greatest players to ever do this thing. There are very few, and I hate to put him in this distinction. I hate to put him in.
You think he's better than Torrey?
He's not better than Joe Tooney.
No. I was actually going Torrey. I wasn't going Phillip Rivers. I love Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, Torrey Holt is better than Joe Tooney.
Big game Holt, 170 yards in his rookie season in the Super Bowl. That guy.
Joe Tooney has 2 Super Bowls with Brady, 2 Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes.
Let me ask you this. Who has the most yards ever in a 10-year span? Who do you think that is?
He's played with both of the greatest quarterbacks in football history and got Super Bowls with both of them.
He's a very lucky man.
I was just about to say, what does that have to do? And don't get me wrong. Joe Tooney is an all-pro. I played with the man. I love him. He's a great guy. That is one of the guys, when they say, oh, who would you let date your sister or your daughter? Whatever. That's a great man.
He's
obviously,
a great guy.
He's too old. He's too
Shout out
old.
to Alton High School in Dayton, Ohio.
But you get my point. He's a great guy. You can't tell me that you put him over. At the end of the day, when you look at what Torrey Holt did, people talk about how great he was in the 2000 to 2010 window. There, again, has never been any receiver ever, Rice, Moss, T.O., anybody with more yards in a 10-year span than him. And he didn't play in the league that we're looking at now. He didn't play in
But he played the offense that was.
The offense don't determine the rules. Do you know what the Patriots said?
His offense would be comparable to today's offense.
But the rules weren't. Do you know what the Patriots said was the key to beating them in the Super Bowl? They said, we're going to whack them. We don't care where they are on the field. If you see one of those skill position guys run by you, put a lick on them. You do that today, brother, they will arrest you on the field. They're not throwing the flag.
Isaiah still got arrested for punching the Suns player before the game.
Yo, who was the good? Look, hold bookmark that because I'm going to ask you guys. KG, you can continue your point, but I want you guys to be thinking about the dude on your squad that you would not have messed with when you were playing.
Oh man, it was a few of them. But I'll tell you what. At the end of the day, when I look at this, when I look at what both of their bodies of work was. I don't see a way that you could exclude Torrey Holt from the greatest NC State player of all time thing. And here's the thing. If you throw in the caveat of greatest quarterbacks to never win a Super Bowl, Phillip Rivers is up there. I think it's Marino, and then it's him. And I don't think that there's anybody. Love Jim Kelly. I think he's a good player. I think he's a great player. I think all the things of him. I don't think that he was on the level of a Phillip Rivers for as long as Phillip Rivers was there. So
that's a longevity award you're giving him.
But that's why I said Torrey's the best, because Torrey's peak.
Because Carson Palmer was better than Phillip Rivers. If we talking prime for prime now.
All right, now listen.
Carson Palmer was that dude.
Do we have to start the Threes Company podcast off with drug testing? I know that we out of the. I know that Malik. I know since we've been out of the NCAA, we're not under the thumb of the man no more. I get it.
Carson Palmer was that guy. Now I'm just saying.
Carson Palmer was better than Phillip Rivers. At what?
Also,
not having kids, he was better than him and not having kids. Phillip Rivers ain't never seen no birth control that he liked. I get that. But
Cam Newton is also debatably one of the greatest quarterbacks to never win one.
Who?
Cam
He's
Newton.
also one of the greatest creators of children.
that.
Just like that must be a thing. Like you, if you don't win Super Bowls, you could definitely have kids. Like that
I
must
didn't
be a
know Cam had
quarterback
like
thing.
6. Cam got 6. or
Cam has 6. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you straight up and down. Again, I love the brother Phillip Rivers. You know, his son is a freshman now. He's getting looks. I'm just saying, come to NC State, be a legacy brother. It'll be great for you. You know, all the good things. But more importantly, I think that again, one of the most how do I put this, egregious Hall of Fame snubs of all time in Torrey Holt has to be NC State's greatest player. I mean, there's a world where you could make an argument for Phillip Rivers not being in. Torrey Holt, there's no way. You could talk about longevity. You could talk about career totals. You could talk about peak. Torrey sweeps all of it. People talk about Marvin Harrison as one of the best receivers of the 2000s, and yet there was a guy who outperformed him. And that guy isn't in the Hall? What are we doing here?
I mean, Joe Tooney was an all-American too now.
And Torrey wasn't?
I was just saying, but Joe Tooney got 4 rings with 2 of the greatest blocking now. I'm talking about holding people up.
So, and here's the thing. Everybody cannot play the role of a star, but everybody can star in their role. I 1,000% agree with you. But let me ask you this. Is Robert Horry a better player than Allen Iverson? Because one of them got a lot more rings, and he hit a lot more big shots in NBA Finals. What? You know what I'm saying? What? But
so
you look at the context.
Pro player. That's how we talking college.
Even if you're talking just college, in college, Joe Tooney was a really good player. Again, I give him all his credit, all his props, all his love. And when you talk about the Mount Rushmore of NC State offensive linemen, Joe Tooney's up there. He's up there with Richter and company.
That's
He's
fair.
up there.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But when you talk greatest player of all time in NC State history, we had a running back that until Travis Etienne played for 4 years, and I believe over those 4 years he played like 45 or 44 games, Ted Brown was the all-time leading rusher in the ACC until Travis Etienne came along. Nobody touched his record. Nobody. But Travis Etienne came and broke it with a lot more games, but he broke the record. We give Travis Etienne his props. So Joe Tooney, again, love him. He did a great job. That offensive line was much better than they should have been because he was anchoring, because guys like him and Schooley and Tyson Chandler and all that, give him their love. But with that being said, I can't give him the nod over Phillip or Torrey. And honestly, between him and Russ, that to me would be closer, and I still give the edge to Russ by a little, but I love me some Joe Tooney. That's my brother from another mother.
I was enjoying the debate, honestly. I think you look left, I would have to lean away from Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer talk is crazy. Palmer talk is crazy.
I would have to lean away from Carson Palmer.
The talk isn't crazy now. Carson Palmer got numbers. He's gotten deep into the playoffs.
Malik,
division champs.
Malik, you stop this.
Played with 2 Hall of Fame receivers.
You stop this now. You stop this. You got to be a good example of them little ones, okay?
How is he not with Joe Burrow?
You telling these stories because I know your household ain't one where kids can say lies. You sit up here telling stories in front of your little ones. I can't believe it. I
was
can't
he not impactful though? I feel like what does Phillip Rivers accomplish? He had 2 Hall of Famers on his team: Antonio Gates and Keenan Allen, and LaDainian Tomlinson, and couldn't win the Super Bowl.
Hey, listen, he came along. And I don't want nobody. I know they're gonna jump me.
Generational greats now.
I know they're gonna jump me. I know they're gonna jump me when I say this.
No, dude, go ahead and stick up for your Wolfpack.
I gotta say it.
Go ahead.
I gotta say it. Right now, he is the equivalent of what Josh Allen is in this era. Let me tell you why. Josh Allen's a great quarterback, right? Do you think that he'll ever be 1-for-1 better than Patrick Mahomes? I don't see where that happens. Do you
Nobody's better than Patrick?
do you think that 1-for-1? Do you think that 1-for-1 in terms of impacting his offense, he'll be better than Lamar Jackson?
He ain't win no MVP, so we can't even. He's not in the pat, or we got to start talking like
Okay.
Ryan Tannehill.
Now watch this. What happens if Will Anderson turns out to be better than everybody thought, and he's looked every bit of what he's supposed to be so far? C.J. Stroud jumps into the conversation, perhaps, much like a Big Ben, to where the team was great around him. He was good enough. They win 1 or 2. And what happened? Because if you're talking about the Mahomes of the group, that would be Tom Brady. If you're talking about the Lamar of the group, that'd be Peyton Manning. If you talk about, and again, I know they're gonna want to jump me for saying this, but if Stroud gets a team around him that is even better than what we're seeing now, listen, look out. They're cooking in Houston. And I'll tell you what, Houston is known for their food scene and the turkey leg cut, but this cooking ain't gonna come in no dress code. Them boys is coming at your door raw and uncut. So, with that being said, Phillip Rivers was a great player that just was in the same moment as, objectively speaking, when you talk about Tom Brady and Peyton, 2 at worst top 8 quarterbacks of all time. I don't think anybody would disagree with that, right? I don't think anybody would put Peyton outside top 8, right? Malik looking at me like he looking at me like he thinking, Malik, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't. But you get what I'm saying? That's where I would put Phillip was right behind that group, and he could not get over that hump, which I give Roethlisberger credit for doing.
Phillip's not better than Matt Ryan.
Listen.
Matt Ryan has the MVP too.
I'm not about to keep playing with you. Matt Ryan came along at the perfect time to win that MVP. And as great as Antonio Gates was, I'm never gonna speak bad about a Detroiter. Never gonna do it if I don't got to. But with that being said, Antonio Gates is not Julio Jones. He could not do the same things that Julio could do on the football field. Okay? That's just the honest to God truth. That's just Keenan Allen was not doing at his prime what Julio could do.
Antonio Gates is a Hall of Fame generational tight end. Tom Brady never had receivers like Julio Jones. He had Gronk. Gronk's a generational tight end. So what's the difference?
Tom Brady never had generational receivers.
Not better than not like Phillip Rivers didn't.
Hey, what do you call it when you dunk on another player in football? When you go up and grab it off his head, what do they call that? You got
one season they didn't win it. If he had them for multiple seasons, they probably would have won it.
They did. They were together for multiple seasons. They just it was. Listen, Tom Brady has had some of the greatest help that there ever was. Defensive players knew, I'll take a pay cut. I'll go over to the Patriots.
He never had a greater running back than Phillip Rivers.
I'll give you that. Yeah. 1,000%. He's never had a better running back.
Debatable tight end. Never had a better running back.
Debatable tight end. Everybody said that Gronk is the greatest tight end of all time.
Who?
They saying that Travis Kelce is just now entering the conversation. What?
Antonio Gates is always my favorite. So
Antonio Gates is my favorite. Listen, again, love a Detroiter. Never gonna talk bad about him. That's my boy. He shouldn't have ever sent his son to Dearborn Forest. You know what you did, Antonio. You know what you did. He had to Cass Tech had to put belt to behind. But with that being said, you can't. Again, Tom did not have the greats that were as high at that time, sure. But again, like these folks are saying in the comments, they talk about Corey Dillon. Did y'all forget Mr. Kevin Falk, who was one of those guys that regardless of what you did, he was always going to be there, always going to be reliable, always good for what he was supposed to do?
That's like saying Danny Woodhead.
Wait a minute. Did y'all forget Mr. Terry Glenn up there in New England? Did you forget how many great players cycled through there? Wes Welker, they said Tom Brady made Wes Welker. Wes, when he leaves, he's going to go be a nothing burger. And what did he do? What was he part of with those Broncos? Oh, that's right. Peyton Manning throwing for the most touchdowns ever in a regular season. That's all he was part of. Listen, I give Tom Brady his credit. He showed up and he knew what it was. He did what he had to do. And he was, again, super reliable. When he was younger, everything was in athleticism, but everything neck down, he just wasn't as fast and athletic. But the neck up to chin up, that man was amazing. He knew what was coming before it came. I give him all his love and respect. I give him all his love and respect for that. But if you're gonna sit up here and say that him and Phillip Rivers had the same supporting cast, stop it. Stop it. The supporting cast Phillip had when Drew Brees was there, what were they doing? Diddly. Nothing. Jack. Squat. What were they doing with Drew Bledsoe in New England? Come on now. Stop playing. They had people thinking Drew Bledsoe was him, not realizing he was 90s Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay?
Not 90s Jimmy Garoppolo.
He was a little less handsome, a little better of a quarterback. I'll give him that. But I'm just saying, let's not get crazy.
So let's put a bow on this, man. Give me some team. At 19, LSU was definitely a team.
Absolutely. You got to play with that team.
Was missed out on.
You got to
definitely missed out on them.
Ohio State, Ezekiel Elliott's team.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
I'm gonna tell you, the top three. Would they be in the top three though?
Yeah.
Teams.
I don't think Ohio State Ezekiel Elliott would be there. I don't think so.
Urban Meyer team led with Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Thomas, and all them boys.
But you playing with Cardale though.
You playing with JT, one of
the
greatest Big Ten quarterback of all time.
But I'm saying Cardale took over for the playoff, right? So if you're in playoff mode,
Urban Meyer with JT starting with all that, gotta be top. Joe Burrow's in there.
Exactly. That Joe Burrow
Trevor Lawrence is in there. No, I'm sorry, Deshaun's in there.
I would love to have both that LSU and that Alabama team. That the first game they played was like 9-6, and the second time they played, it was a rematch in the national championship game. I would love it if they did classic teams, because when people saw that game, everybody talked about how ugly and nasty it was. I'm like, that's a beautiful game. That's defensive football. Think about how many defensive all-pros were in that game. Dante Hightower. You got Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu. You got so many guys off both of those teams. Fitzpatrick, I believe, was a corner on that Alabama team. You had Minkah. Yeah, Minkah was there as well. I could be. No, Minkah wasn't there. He was way after that. I'm sorry. But you had so many stars on both sides of the ball in that game, but especially those defenses absolutely loaded with all pros everywhere. That was a great time. I'd love to see those teams brought back as classics.
I think you said Lamar. I would have loved to play with Kyler Murray.
On
that joint.
Kyler Murray would be good.
I think the Georgia Bulldog team from a couple of years ago, that defense, I definitely would have loved to play with. Right? So that's one of those teams that you miss out on.
Kyler Murray to CeeDee Lamb on the video game would be crazy. That would really be crazy. That would be something.
Facts. So, nice little bow, EA Sports. They released a trailer. Notre Dame slapping a sign coming out of the locker room. It's the only way to sell the game.
Absolutely.
Lucky Podcast and Three's Company right here with our guy Malik Zaire, myself, Sean Davis, and our guy from Locked On, Ken Gibbs, Mr. Detroit himself. Now, new segment, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to introduce. And it might strictly be for Three's Company. We might do it every week. So we'll see how it goes. I'm the creative. So I just thought we'd come up with something. And this is a segment we call This or That. Get it, this to that right here. Three's Company, Lucky Lefty Network, patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. So let's get started. I'm going to start this to that with, the changes due to the last month. The top 25, according to ESPN, they're way too early, top 25. It goes like this. Georgia at number 1, Ohio State at number 2, after they spent $15 million. Oregon at 3, Texas at 4. Notre Dame jumps 5 spots from 10 to 5. Ole Miss drops to 7. Missouri drops to 7 after being 8th. Penn State jumps 4 spots from 12th to 8th. Alabama drops all the way from number 4 to 9th. Utah jumps up from the 13th spot to number 10. Arizona takes 2 spots down from 9th to 11th. LSU jumps up 2 spots to 12th. Michigan drops 7 spots from the 6th spot all the way down to 13. Oklahoma's at 14. Florida State at 15. Tennessee 16. Oklahoma State 17. Uh-oh. Is there a sleeper in the ACC? The NC State Wolfpack up 2 spots to 18th. The Clemson Tigers are at 19. Kansas State 20. Louisville 21st. Kansas 22nd. Kentucky 23rd. And the Miami Hurricane coming in 24th. And going from unranked to 25th, that gives Notre Dame finally another ranked team on their schedule. They make the schedule a little bit better, left, since it's trash right now. The Texas A&M Aggies, who we open up with on the road, are 25th now in the ESPN Way Too Early Top 25. When I hear those rankings, did anybody jump out to you guys? Let's go over the top 5. You tell me, does this team end up in the same spot going into the playoffs? Not at the end of the season, but just heading into the playoffs. Number 1, Georgia. Will they be the number 1 team heading into the playoffs, this or that? This meaning, yeah, I rock with this, or that meaning, nah, that ain't it.
I definitely think this is it with them. I think they're the lead horse, and until proven otherwise, because they got the greatest coach in football right now, I don't see them not losing that spot, but they do have a tough schedule.
Give me this. Give me
okay.
This team, This team right here, this year, it's their time. Everybody told me when Kirby Smart beat Nick Saban once, the curse is broken. The Nick Saban assistant curse is broken. Listen, Nick Saban has as legendary of a coaching tree as anybody. His coaching tree got roots that are deep now. The roots run deep. They're absolutely phenomenal coaches. Nobody could beat the big dog. That was Papa. And you know why they used to call him Pop? Not because he got grandkids, but because when it came to playing teams that his old coaches now coaching, he would put belt to behind. That's who he was. It was belt to behind time. So with him out of the picture, there is nobody here. It reminds me of the scene from Megamind where the villain said, where everybody said, oh, the city saved. We have Titan. He ran Megamind out of town. And he said, the city ain't saved. It's just under new management. That's what Kirby Smart is going to try to say this season. It ain't safe. Y'all ain't safe now. It's just under new management.
Yo, Megamind was an underrated movie, yo.
Excellent movie. One of Will Ferrell's best, honestly.
I would agree. I remember taking Baby Girl to see that Lefty Network, Three's Company. This or that. Then the Heisman Award winner will come from the Big Ten or the SEC in 2024. This or that.
See, Malik stalling, and I'm going to say something. They're going to think I'm saying this because I'm on the Lucky Lefty podcast. They're going to think I'm saying this because I happen to be just here with y'all two Notre Dame guys. The Heisman winner is going to come from an independent that slaps a play like a champion side. The Heisman winner. The more I look at this, the more I'm seeing and saying, I got a real good feeling. I got a real good feeling about this, and nobody's gonna want to agree with me. They're gonna call me crazy until it happens. Who's that running back y'all got coming back? Who's that?
Which one? I mean, we got so many. I mean,
who's the one that everybody felt like got snubbed last year?
Jadarian Price?
I'm sorry. So Audrey Espn announced he's going to the NFL?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
This is the 3 and done running back university.
I apologize.
Kyron Williams first.
My bad.
Audrey Estimate next.
My bad. I still believe. I still believe. I know he ain't going to agree with me. That quarterback y'all got from Duke. I've been trying to tell everybody. And listen, Estimate being gone makes that much harder because I thought if he came back, I saw a serious shot at this team not only running the table, but you know how it goes. If you're a quarterback on the Notre Dame team to run the table, people are going to be looking at you. You're going to have the eyes on you. Estimate being gone changes that math a little bit. I was not aware of that. That slipped out of my radar. But I honestly believe. I'm telling you, if any of the running backs step up and play like 75% of what I thought Estimate would give if he came back, this team, they're going to be just fine. And they're going to be proving that number 5 way too early, right? And at worst, Riley is going to New York. At worst.
You're booking it. Riley Leonard will be in New York. You're booking it now.
I said if he gets at least 75% of what I thought he would bring. So I thought they were getting a very, very good experience back that's been through the fires, been through the stuff. So I will throw that caveat in there. If the run game cannot help him out, it's going to be tough. But
First of all, hold on.
With Notre Dame's offensive line,
when have you ever seen the Notre Dame run game not help out?
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. If y'all get that, if the running game is there, I'm trying to tell you that, because when I looked at the history of transfer quarterbacks struggling in their first year, all of them had the commonality of their running games were not good. Each and every one of them came into situations where they were given the keys, but they were also told to fill the car, make sure it's waxed, make sure it's buffed, check the air, check the engine light. They were asked to do too many things. If y'all can ask him, hey, listen, we don't need to win every game because of you. Some games we'll need to win with you. But when winning time comes in those 1 or 2 games, we need you to be a winner. He's going to end up in New York. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know. Now, granted, if the running backs are mid, y'all can throw this out the window. You can go ahead, ball it up, and throw it over your shoulder.
Left, this or that. You got an independent or someone outside of the Big Ten or the SEC being the winner of the Heisman?
I got Shedeur Sanders still being in the contention. I think they've got an O-line. You know, they got the second year. Deion's got something to prove. The Pac-12's a lot weaker. I think they got an opportunity to make something happen. I wish Colorado was a Big Ten team, though. I think they would look good back in the Big Ten. But Shedeur, I mean, is from the most exciting quarterback to watch right now. It's an even playing field. I don't see anybody really jumping out quarterback-wise, other than Shedeur being in the groove into his second season. He should be right.
So we go to Ohio State, sitting at number 2 in the ESPN poll. Will they be there going into the playoff? The number 2 spot, this or that?
Give me that all day. I am not buying Ryan Day. That man, that is when Lou Holtz calls you soft and you think after we win a big game, my response is to go after an 87-year-old that probably can't remember where he is about 3/4 of the time. It's embarrassing. I definitely say that.
Left?
Definitely that. It's just embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, their situation is built up so high to where, you know, just like Notre Dame, I just think that they unleashed the cat out of the bag too early for both teams. Just because it's like, I think it would be better for us to climb just like them. But, you know, you get what you pay for.
For me, guys, I'm going to go that. And the reason is because I believe they lose 2 games. I believe they lose to Oregon. And then I believe they lose. I forget Ryan Day. I think Chip Kelly as a play caller is probably an upgrade from Ryan Day. But the mentality of the team is still going to be soft, to point out that what KG was talking about. And then on top of that, they lose to Oregon, and they probably have one more loss, maybe USC. The quarterback situation is still a big question mark. Still a big question mark. So,
but they got everything money can buy when it comes to quarterbacking. They got Julian Sand, they got Aaron Nolan, they got the Will Howard, Will Howard's a potential guy. Aaron Nolan's number 1 coming out of his class. Julian Sand's got a lot of promise, 5-star. So they have what Alabama was suspected to have before they went with Jalen Milroe.
Yeah,
a room full of suspected 5-star top talent that all of them pretty much bottomed out, and then they got Jalen Milroe. So Ohio State's problem is that they got all the money and can't find the best way to use it. I think you're on mute.
Let me tell you something. All the money in the world can't buy toughness. All right. It like Cat Williams said in that Club Shay Shay interview. Yeah, they might have all the resources. Yeah, they might have all the best this and that. But when we get on the line, let's see if it makes a difference, boy. I guarantee you it won't. That team just has a soft constitution. They have got to. And listen. Here's the thing, right? Yo, to all the good noobs, we know the importance of Ohio State in our history. We know how much they mean to us. We know. But with that being said, I cannot get behind this team. I look at them and I say, this is a team with a soft chin. There's a team with a soft chin playing in a rough conference. That, if you're talking about pure physicality, pound for pound, I don't think the SEC comes close to the Big Ten. In terms of football players and the ability to win and lose games, yes, the SEC, Big Ten, they're right there. But if we're just talking toughness and phone book and, hey, you can't throw the ball, you got to beat this other team, how you going to do it? I'm going to tell you right now, if you are playing in that Big Ten and you think that it's going to be sweet and soft and delicate, you can, we'll dress the pig. We'll call the same play 12 different ways and confuse the defense. At some point in time, it's going to be you and that young man across from you in the phone book. Who going to win? Who going to win? In that phone booth, rather. Who going to win? And it tends to not go their way when they play really good teams. The problem is, even teams that are more physical than them don't have anywhere near the same caliber of athletes, like in Iowa, like in Nebraska, like in Minnesota. So even though they're more physical than you, guess what? You're faster, you're bigger, you're taller, you're stronger. So yeah, they're tougher than you if it were close, but it's not, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to shake that corner to Kingdom Come, and he's going to be wide open. Jackson Smith and Jigba, you can't check him. He's going to be open until Kingdom Come. You know what I mean? And so that's why I say I don't believe that team will be there when it's all said and done.
The Oregon Ducks, number 3. Will they be there going into the playoffs? This or that?
If Malik don't want to start off, I will. I'll tell you right now.
I think the Oregon Ducks are the obvious setup team in the top 5, only because of the fact that Dan Lanning has to prove himself in a situation where I think he's in a hot seat similar to Ryan Day. You lose to Kalen DeBoer twice like you do, and 3 times in 2 seasons when you're supposed to be the Nick Saban of the West or the Urban Meyer of the West. You failing in big moments. And everybody can love the fact that you can out-talent teams, but when you got to win the big games, you can't do it. Even dating back to when they got crushed by Georgia, when I thought Bo Nix wasn't finna have a great Oregon career like he did. So we know that Oregon is going to come across a team that is hot during their streak, and that's where Dan Lanning's real coaching has to come out. So they're the biggest setup out of the 5.
Yeah, I would agree, KG, before you jump in. The biggest thing about Oregon is the fact that Dan Lanning got out-coached 3 consecutive times by Kalen DeBoer. 3 consecutive games. He was out-coached by Kalen DeBoer. Probably kept Oregon from having a shot at a national championship 2 seasons. Go ahead, KG. This or that for Oregon.
I agree. Absolutely that. I think that's another team that, another Cat Williams joke, he said that the 300C looked like a phantom till a phantom pull up. They look tough. In the Big 12, in the Pac-12, they were the bullies of the block. They were the tough guys. They could muscle up on anybody. Yeah, we're those guys. We're bad. We're tough. Until they ran up against actual tough guys. Washington was an actual tough team. And even with Washington, I wouldn't say that they're the most physical tough team in the world, but what happened with Washington was not only were they out-coached, they were favored by too much in each and every one of those games. If they were favored by 3 points or so in the conference championship, they had a shot. When I saw that line open up at 9.5, I said, yep, Vegas giving away money. Go ahead and book Washington. Go ahead and book it. Because Washington's narrative all last year was we're underdogs, we're being disrespected. And, Oregon is a team that while Dan Lanning says we're doing it for substance, I really want to ask a question here. What about Oregon has ever been of substance? And I mean that from a very genuine standpoint, not trying to joke on them or crack on them. That is a team that's known for flash and dash. That's part of who you are. Embrace that. Embrace that. If I was him, I would have said, they doing it for clicks, but we get more clicks than they can. They doing it for social media, and we still whooping the wheels off of both social. This is who we are. I think that he has an idea of Oregon in his mind that does not exist in reality, and the Big Ten will bring them back to reality. You know, that's just my opinion. So I'd definitely say that on that team.
This or that, the Texas Longhorns can start finally get over that next hump or take it to the next level. They got to the college football playoff, lost another game to Washington, Kalen DeBoer. Hey, you can say what you want to about Alabama possibly taking a step back, but they got a pretty good in-game coach. Kalen DeBoer has proved he can outcoach Sark 2 years in a row and Dan Lanning on 3 different occasions. So you might think Alabama's taking a step back, but they got a pretty good coach when it comes to how he stacks up against the other coaches that we're talking about in the top 3 that we covered, and Sark at 4 in the Texas Longhorns. Just another example of, yo, can they take that next level? This or that, fellas?
Sark fits in with the Lincoln Riley of the world, where they're great flash in the pan coaches, but when it comes to big games, they're all categorized the same. Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian. These are guys that are considered the measuring stick of when, if you're a really good coach and you get that opportunity, you beat one of these 3. Then you know you in the right conversation, because those 3 are always going to be in the games that matter, just like a Kyle Shanahan will fall short. They do all the good stuff during the regular season. They get to a point where it matters and they can't cash in. So a guy like Kalen DeBoer that can work his way up, beat some of these guys, now we look at him different. Now that's only because they're beating guys that can't cross the Rubicon. These guys that have all this success and great classes and great programs that can't win big games, they're stuck in that coach's purgatory. So yeah, Dan Lanning losing 3 times, that's expected. But he's gonna give you 10 wins. He's gonna get you there. He's gonna get you close.
All right. KG?
I love Sark. Love Sark. Okay. I'm glad to hear, I love to hear about folks getting second chances, because life don't always work in a linear fashion as we would imagine. Love Sark, love his comeback story, love everything about it. I like that defense a lot. I do. Those big fellas in the middle, I don't know how many of them are coming back.
They lost both of the top ones though.
Okay. I know, but they got some.
They got some more. They got some
hogs now. They got some hogs in the middle of that defense. And that quarterback, Quinn Ewers, I'll tell you what. If it wasn't for my belief, and anybody who thinks I'm lying in my belief on Notre Dame because I'm on this show, my hot take last year on Locked On College Football Live to start the season was that Notre Dame would be closer to the playoff than Georgia. So I have not jumped off the Freeman train. I've been on it. I was wrong last year, but I'll tell you what, if it ain't gonna be my boy Riley, I would have an educated guess to say Quinn Ewers has a good shot at the Heisman if it weren't for one thing, and this is why I'm going to put this team into that category. I know I gave you a lot of bit up about what I like about them. They're going into the SEC. The SEC and the Big 12, 2 totally different beasts, 2 extremely different beasts. You could have a 3-week stretch where you would see Iowa State, where you would see you would see those types of teams. And I believe last year BYU was in the Big 12, if I am correct. You see a Baylor. Ain't no 3-week stretch like that in the SEC. I'm sorry to tell you, you do not have. You can run into a Vanderbilt.
Florida, Mississippi State.
Yeah, listen, you can run into a Vanderbilt. You ain't running into 2 of them. That ain't happening. That you are not doing that. So with that being said, I look at this situation and I say, they got as the old song says, they got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I love me some Quinn Ewers, love me some Sark. Would I be shocked if they ended up proving me wrong? Not super. But if I had to go one way or the other, I'm gonna lean that right now.
Hey, bro, let me tell you something. Look, Because of Jim Harbaugh, I think there was a chance that week 2, college football might have had the highest viewed college football game of all time, prime time. If Jim Harbaugh had stayed in Michigan, the Texas Longhorns going up to Michigan.
Yeah.
Week 2. That game might have broken all types of records with those two teams coming up in national championship. And it still might be pretty good, because Michigan still has a pretty good defense coming back, quarterback questionable. But this goes October 12th and 19th. They play Oklahoma and Georgia in consecutive weeks. That right there is going to tell you everything you need to know about Texas.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. 12th and 19th. I'll tell you this much about that Michigan team. Okay, you talk about questionable quarterback. Was the quarterback play not questionable last year?
That's a good point.
Was McCarthy looked real funny in the light multiple times.
Heck, in the semifinals, he was funny in the light.
Oh, let's take it back even further than that. Against Maryland. We
both said the same thing.
The mighty Terrapins, one of the worst defenses in the Big Ten, made him look very normal. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Michigan probably was blowing them out by 50, and so they did wrong.
That was a close game.
That game was extremely close. And if he played better, they would have blown that team out.
Oh, if Baby Tua played better, they would have beaten Michigan.
Oh, trust me. The leading passer of all time in the Big Ten, which is, again, why I say some of these stats need to stop being by total volume and they need to be broken down on a per-game basis. Because there's no way. There's no way, with all due respect to the Tagovailoa family, they do not have a single young man in that lineage at this moment, unless one of them birthed a boy that I don't know about, that should be anybody's leader in anything conference-wide. I'm sorry. So, that Michigan team, I'm not concerned about the quarterback play at all. They're that physical.
Now, I'm going to say this. The next team we know, I already said who was in the 5th spot, jumping 7 spots, Fighting Irish. I think people are trying to tell you, because the highest that Notre Dame could go going into the playoffs is the 5 spot. They can't get any higher.
Right.
No conference alignment. I think people are telling you, hey, this is set up for Notre Dame to be right here at this 5th spot going into the playoffs. This or that. Would Notre Dame be the 15 heading into the playoffs?
Absolutely this, just because of what you said. We can't go higher than 5, and they looked at our schedule and know that they might stay at 5 all season. We don't have any threat. We don't have any threat on the top 25. So for Vegas to already book it in for us, we can't surprise nobody like I felt like we would. And then you add the fact that we're a program with a defense that's got a lot of great players back, transition to their 3rd with the ranks they've had. Then you add all these transfers in with guys that have Riley Leonard's expected to do big things. You get Dem Brock as an offensive coordinator who just had a Heisman coming back home. They like Marcus Freeman has a lot of likability in standings anyway. So all things included, and then you compare it to his schedule he's going against. They're already booking Notre Dame to be in the top 12, let alone the 5th spot for the playoffs. So there's no room for us to grow. It's just to do what we all expected, especially from Riley, where we don't care about the regular season. You see, they already got us 5th. We don't care about that because it don't mean nothing. We already expected y'all to make the playoffs. Now, when y'all get to that 5th spot, them top Texas, the Michigans, the Georgias, that's the Riley Leonard evaluation that the $2 million was worth it. Vegas knows it, and so does this podcast.
This all day. And let me tell you something about this situation. The way I see it, I'm not only saying this because I believe Notre Dame is a very good to elite team right now, but I believe this because if you look at the schedules of all the top teams, they have maybe the softest, and because of the brand of Notre Dame, let's just be honest. Let's just be very honest about this thing. Notre Dame has that level of brand that elevates them into positions where you may not belong. You might not should be that high. But if they run 11-1 and they come into the playoff off a loss to a team that was a surprise team that shocked the world and was really great and, did all these great things, they'll be number 5. I have no problem, saying that So I for sure say this on this team, but I will say this. If this team ends up very badly of that, Marcus Freeman, I love you. I love the fades. I love the fades, but you may be worried about the wrong fade, brother. You may be worried about the wrong fade. If this team ends up in that situation where it's like, y'all not even pinching the playoffs, you know? Like, people might be able to forgive you at a 12, 13, 14 range where it's like, we were that close. We were, one more thing breaks our way. Nobody is forgiving, this Notre Dame team finishing number 20 and playing in the Arizona Sun Bowl. Nobody's
we're set up like the Cowboys. We get a first round bye. So that game doesn't count. We damn near got to get to the championship for Marcus Freeman to even get the validation that he's on the right path. Just because the schedule, for a Heisman person on Notre Dame, it would have to take Steph Curry type of numbers. Because there are no Heisman moments on the schedule. There's no Heisman moments for Riley Leonard. He would just have to throw for Peyton Manning 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns to be noticed. But then you add in the fact that Marcus Freeman already has the credit of having the better team in the entire schedule.
But you're forgetting that the Notre Dame brand is the Notre Dame brand is the Notre Dame brand. That golden helmet hits different. If you
that's the other thing. It just depends on how the media is going to cover us. We went undefeated, and people acted like it wasn't anything. We went undefeated just 4 years ago.
Yeah, the Ian Book-led squad that made it in.
And then what to come find out when we played Trevor, it's like we were like the most average team in the world. So
I want to ask you this. The first defensive player, or one of the first defensive players, and strictly defensive, because this young man ain't played a lick of offense, to make it to New York was Manti Te'o. You know what I mean? Like, with all due respect, the Notre Dame brand just hits different. And I get it. Y'all are so deep in the weeds. It's like when you marry, like Jay-Z sees Beyonce different than we do, because he see her every day.
But it's only when y'all
see Notre Dame a little different. If Notre Dame is undefeated,
but it's the truth, because if that was the case, Ian Book should have been in New York. But Ian Book's not going to New York with the brand and 2,600 yards. Absolutely not. Because
Ian Book was not the reason they were winning. You didn't look at Ian Book and say there are multiple games and multiple moments, even if against lesser opponents.
You know why? Because there was no moments for Ian Book to have other than that game against Trevor Lawrence. Just like Notre Dame's season last year. We don't care about none of them other wins. Us losing to Ohio State made that season the difference. Ian Book didn't matter if he beat Clemson at home. You know why? Because Trevor Lawrence wasn't there. So even the weight of winning that game with everybody around the field still didn't mean anything because Trevor Lawrence wasn't there. So what we're saying is, Notre Dame brand carries a lot of weight. The media doesn't believe it, especially if there's no moments, because even when we had the winningest quarterback in the history of the program, couldn't crack 3,000 yards, wasn't in New York. Why? Because the moments that he did have didn't make it happen. So if Riley Leonard, with everything laid out in front of him, he would have to have not only an immaculate season with the layup that this is T-ball now. He done went from playing Major League to T-ball.
But see, and here's
you're gonna get Heisman being a T-ball champion.
Here's the problem. That you seem to be forgetting here. When you watch a game of football in 2024, you can recognize what type of quarterback a team has very quickly. Every quarterback falls into one of three categories. I don't care what you say, how you do it. You can do it with your legs. You can do it through the air. You can do it both ways. You can do it like Keenan Reynolds. You can do it like Peyton Manning. Every quarterback falls into one of three categories. The first of which, we win in spite of you. Like, we have to figure out ways to scheme this thing around and say, all right, just please don't kill us and we'll be okay. I'm begging you, don't turn the ball over. You're the best we got. The other quarterback is a transfer from the island of Misfit Toys University, and he got a bad left shoulder, and he right-handed, but he throw with his left. I don't understand it. I don't like the kid. I don't want to play him. We win in spite of you, right? We win with you, which I think Ian Book was. I think that Ian Book was a good quarterback, but I think he was a guy that's like, hey, we trust you to hit some plays here and there, but for the most part, you know, like Will Smith told Kevin James at Hitch, don't do that. Stay in your box. Yep, that little two-step. Get your two-step, stay in your box. Shaun know what I'm talking about. Stay in your box. That's what
that's what we're telling Riley Leonard.
But
we're like, Riley Leonard, we got Chris Mitchell, the leading receiver receptions. We got Bo Collins, 5-star receiver.
And this is what I'm trying to tell you.
Back.
If you tell Riley Leonard we will win with you and not because of you, you are handicapping him and you are shooting yourself in the foot. It is like telling Hartman, don't make checks at the line. You are tying his best hand behind his back. It's like telling Lamar, do not run the football at all. I don't care how bad things break down. Stay in the pocket and figure it out. These guys have
put him in the conversation with players that are better. He's not the playmaker that's gonna make the win or loss in the game for Notre Dame because he ain't got the talent for it. He ain't got the talent for it.
Malik,
and you know why we say he ain't got the talent for it? Because we got better talent. It's like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy wasn't going to be the reason why they won that game.
Malik,
George Kittle was going to have to do it. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk had 3 receptions in the Super Bowl. They're not going to win. They're not going to win.
Malik, I'm trying to tell you, as somebody who has covered triangle sports in particular for about the last 8 or so years of my life, you are underestimating what you are getting in Riley Leonard. I'm trying to tell you as gently as possible. That brother was a Ferrari amongst Volvos. I'm trying to tell you. We've had this conversation
2,900 yards. That is a Fiat. Fiats look really, really foreign.
Okay.
Fiats are really good-looking cars.
Malik,
but it's still a Fiat.
Malik, can I ask you a question? When you were a quarterback, if somebody only took your passing yards into account, would they be telling the full story of Malik Zaire and all the things he could do on the football field?
Absolutely.
Malik, stop playing. Stop. See, because now you're gonna make me mad. I pay Apple way too much money for this laptop. Okay? The tech is firing people left and right, and you got me considering breaking this laptop with this blasphemy you talking. You know you was a dual threat. You know you was a bad man with your legs. So was Riley Leonard. He was their leading rusher. He was their leading rusher 2 years ago. The second leading rusher in the ACC for all quarterbacks.
Do you think Sean Davis, Sean SD2 mics right now, do we need another rusher to add to win a championship right now?
It's not about what you need.
Hold on. Riley's greatest strength is what we are already strong at.
No, it's not. That's not. I'm trying to. Malik, you're going to make me pop a blood vessel. See, everybody in my family take blood pressure.
I will say this because of, and most Notre Dame fans, let us know in the chat if you agree or disagree. His plays that are going to be needed, because he's going to make plays with his legs. The most important plays are going to come in the passing game against the best team.
That's it.
And here's what I'm saying. I think that you're very greatly underestimating his ability to process information and hit the right throws. His arm talent is not that of a Spencer Rattler.
I'm not giving the stereotype against the
left
quarterback.
Left. I'm gonna go ahead and throw you the alley-oop right quick, left, just so we can laugh. I'm gonna throw you the alley-oop. Here's a Duke transfer to Notre Dame, defensive end, RJ Oben, when he was asked by the Notre Dame media.
Bring it up now.
Yeah, what's gonna make Riley Leonard? What trait about Riley Leonard do you think Notre Dame fans don't know that's going to make him a great quarterback in Notre Dame? This is what RJ Oben had to say.
I think Notre Dame might not know about Riley Leonard is how spiritual he is, how religious, how much of a man of God he is. The conversations I've had with him, guys on the team when I was at Duke about Jesus and, following the Lord, I think have been amazing. And, when you have a guy who's just led by God and led through faith at the head of your team and the culture galvanizes around, I think it's takes the team to an enormous level. So I'm excited for that.
Hey, this is Notre Dame. Most of us do faith. Left, that's not what we wanted to hear, is it, Left? I'm just saying.
I don't know if that's what you want to hear.
You're finna upset me. This is not a situation where you bring your shorty to the cookout and you don't hear no, all right now, I see your nephew. Instead you hear, she must got a good personality. She must could cook her tail off. You know, this ain't one of those. This ain't one of those. Let me tell you what this is. RJ and he are both very, how do I put this now? You know what I'm going to say? They're both corny brothers. They're corny people. They're very corny people, okay? If, for example, after the Clemson game, you know what Riley Leonard said about 12 times in his press conference with ACC, with the ACC network crew, with myself and my co-host Grayson, with plenty of other folks in terms of talking about, or myself and my co-host Candace Cooper, and plenty of other folks on ESPN when they talk to him about it. God is good, and so is our defense. What a win that was. But you know the game that turned that play around? A Riley Leonard's, 58, 59-yard run where he broke multiple tackles from future NFL guys to get to the end zone. I don't give a damn if RJ Oben says the special thing about him is his Lego collection. That brother can ball. And if you can't see that, I'll say it like this, okay? I'll say it like this. Don't watch his highlight tape. Watch the all 22, because I've seen his best throws. I've seen his worst throws. The only things that I would probably say this could be problematic for him, he has a tendency to hold on to the ball too long sometimes, and he has a tendency to not trust his receivers when they've had multiple drops. Those are the things that I would say scare me about him. Everything else, he is now amongst other Ferraris. He's going to run the race at the full speed. I'm telling you right now.
We don't do Ferraris in the up here in South Bend. Too cold.
He was a G-Wagon. It's not going to work.
No, we do Lamborghini trucks up here.
There we go. He was a Lambo truck. He was a G-Wagon. He was whatever amongst a bunch of Fiats. And I'm telling you right now, if you look at that offense and say outside of
making the ACC, you're making the ACC seem really suspect right about now.
I'm not talking about the ACC. I'm talking about him. That defense had a ton of talent. Duke's offense outside of him, nada, zilch, zero.
Didn't the Wolfpack get one of their running backs?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, we'll talk about the Wolfpack coming up, but I just thought I'd point that out.
Riley Leonard hasn't scored 50 points in a game before. So
what are we? So now the bar is if you score 50 points in the game or not. Are we
Sam
doing this?
Hartman scored 50 points at Wake Forest. He scored 50 points at Notre Dame. I mean, we're talking about a guy that has ample amount of opportunity. And if he's the second leading rusher on the team, we're not winning the championship. We're not. If he's the second leading rusher on the team, we're not winning anything.
I agree. At Notre Dame, he shouldn't be the second leading rusher because that's not the style of your offense. What I am saying is he is objectively speaking, from what I've seen of him and what I've seen of Notre Dame quarterbacks, he's the best I've seen in almost a generation. And I mean that. He's not Ian Book. He's not that. He's not a guy that you have to say, all right, please, we'll trust you to hit a throw or two. Just don't lose it for us. He's a guy that you can give the reins to and say, hey, make a play, brother. We going to roll the ball out.
Where does Riley Leonard compare on this draft class list? If he had to go to the draft with this draft class.
Let me tell you something. This is a very weak quarterback class coming up this year. So
and here's what I would say.
No, I'm talking about this year with Caleb Williams and all these guys.
To me, if he was healthy, if his health was not a problem, if there were no questions about his health, I'd have him as QB 3B 4, about in that area.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
Over Penix and Jay Daniels?
No, you buck.
Over Penix and Jay Daniels?
No. Here would be my three.
Here's what you just said.
Here would be my three. I got Caleb at 1. I got May at 2. I would have Daniels at 3. And
first of all, you having May at 2 is that. Go ahead though. Go ahead.
Listen. I've got May at 2 because the same reason I will put Spencer Rattler at about 5 because his ceiling is extremely high. If he hits his ceiling, you're getting something. Your quarterback position is set for the next 50
You put a guy with 2,900 yards over Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix?
I said 3B behind Jaden Daniels. Over Penix? Yes. Over Penix?
No,
Absolutely.
no,
Absolutely.
no,
Absolutely.
no,
2,900 yards tell you that?
Absolutely.
Total. We talking about
Absolutely.
total.
Absolutely.
no.
Absolutely. So
You
let me ask
can't,
you this.
KG, after back-to-back 4,000 yards
Let me ask you this.
seasons, you can't.
And again,
come on.
again,
Objectively,
if we're talking, and this is why I said if his health were different, one of the things about Penix that scares the living daylights out of me, how many seasons did he have that ended in season-ending injuries?
Well, we could ask Riley the same thing.
He did it
that's
once.
the same thing for Peyton Wilson. That's the exact same thing for Peyton
And
Wilson. Peyton Wilson is a dog.
You proving my point. I've also said that Peyton Wilson is a first-round talent, but his health, it makes sense that teams are telling me third, fourth. That's where he's most likely going to go at highest. I'm not.
So you're adding medicals to this. I'm not adding.
Now, if we take medical,
talking about
okay.
purely,
So if we're talking pure talent, and I know that
Yes.
you're going to be healthy, I know that
Yes.
you're going to give me 15 years. Then yeah, Penix is in front of him. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I get that.
Okay.
I get that.
Okay.
But I think Penix is more talented. But again, it's all about floor and ceiling. If we're talking ceiling, I think that only Caleb Williams has a higher ceiling than Spencer Rattler. However, all things included, when you say how low is the floor, Spencer's floor is so bad, I don't put him in that same category as a Jaden Daniels.
We knew once we knew Spencer Rattler. Dude, Spencer Rattler's pro day is about to be phenomenal.
And listen, when they talked about him,
phenomenal.
When they talked about him at Senior Week, I told everybody he's going to light it up. He's going to light it up at the Senior Bowl. He's going to light it up because every other quarterback, for the most part, they need to get in timing. They need to get in rhythm. Penix is a prime example. When he gets in rhythm with his guys, he's rolling. He's smoking. That brother can put the ball wherever it needs to go. But when you got him in that situation where it's like, I'm out the blue, got to make it happen, it becomes a different story. Mm-hmm. And so, again, if we're talking pure talent, no injuries, yes, I would not put Riley Leonard up there with those guys. But if we're talking all things considered, I'd have him right behind Jaden Daniels. I'd have him right there. Because where was his Malik Neighbors? Where was it? Where do you factor that in? Where do you factor in the dog? Where's his Roma Dunsi? Where are these guys at for him? Again, I'm not disrespecting the ACC. I'm not even disrespecting Duke because that defense was swarming. They were fast. They were all over it. But
you don't have to disrespect the ACC. Notre Dame does that on an annual basis.
Watch out, watch out, man.
I'm just saying. I'm rattling off like 30 in a row. Like,
but when I talk about strict, am I put him over Bo Nix? Absolutely. I think nothing of Bo Nix. I think nothing of him. I have never seen a quarterback that I don't get it about more than Bo Nix. I've never seen a quarterback where I'm just like, I take that back. There was one other quarterback that I didn't see it about more, and that was Kenny Pickett. That's it. That's the only quarterback where I was really scratching my head like, I've seen this guy play for 4 years now. I've watched him play in the ACC for 4 years. He has looked pedestrian as pedestrian could be. In this 5th year where he does all these amazing things, now all of a sudden he's the guy. I look at Bo Nix the same way. Bo Nix in the SEC looked very pedestrian. First year at Oregon, very pedestrian. Then all of a sudden when he gets to year 4 or 5, he's been in college for forever and a day thanks to COVID and gray shirt and all this good stuff. Now he's the guy. No, I see nothing about Bo Nix. I don't see the arm talent. I don't see the intangibles. I don't see the athleticism. I don't see his decision making is at best like it's mediocre for an NFL quarterback. I wouldn't say he's the worst decision maker I've ever seen, but I wouldn't say he's the best either. I see nothing that would make him a top 5 to 10 quarterback in the NFL, or the top 5 to 10 quarterback in the draft, let alone in the NFL. Nothing. And I stand by that. I stand. If anybody can show me, hey, this is why Bo Nix is that guy.
I'm just saying, you're giving Riley Leonard credit over guys that have more accomplishments, over guys that, it's interesting.
If you put Riley Leonard on Oregon, they don't lose to Washington back to back to back. They don't. They don't do that.
It's still a coaching mismatch, though.
I agree. It's a coaching mismatch.
It'll be interesting.
That quarterback matchup, it gets a little tighter. Because we saw multiple times where Bo Nix was supposed to make the play to be the guy. He could not do it.
I see what you're doing. You're really ingratiating yourself to Notre Dame fans on this first episode. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
I am a speaker of truth. And guess what? If I come on this show, if we do, when we start Three's Company, I'm saying, hey, Freeman, you need to go ahead and call up U-Haul, call up College Hunks, call up Motor City Movers, call them, because you're going to have to use them to get up out of there real quick. If that's what happens, I'm going to tell you that. Okay? I have faith in Riley Leonard. I have faith in Notre Dame because I have faith in Riley Leonard. I have watched so much of Riley Leonard that I know when he's like, oh, okay.
How much is so much? He was hurt all last year.
I watched all of his games last year. And again, the Florida State game and him getting hurt in that game should tell you all you need to know. That game should tell you all you need to know. Against the team that ran the table, when their quarterback was healthy, by the way, Riley Leonard's winning that ball game. He's winning that ball game. And the second he gets hurt, the game completely flips on its head. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
He's playing with a bunch of Toyota Camrys. But I do think that Riley Leonard's going to have a lot of success during the regular season. It's set up for him to do well. It's just a matter of the playoffs.
Okay.
So you're going to be right about a lot of what your evaluation is true. He's going to look tremendous.
Look, go ahead and we're gonna get to the last one.
I 1,000% agree that the test of time for Riley Leonard will be what he does in the playoff. However, I don't want whatever he does in the regular season to be completely glossed over because he has a good team around him and the scheduling the best. Because I've been telling everybody for some time, I've watched multiple quarterbacks come through the ACC. I've watched multiple quarterbacks come through the triangle. I watched Sam Howell, and everybody tell me that he's the next great thing. And I said, I don't see it. I watched Drake May, and I said, okay, I see it.
I like Drake May.
I watched Devin Leary, and I said, my jury's still out on him. I think he's all right. I think that he has that gamer in him that lets him hit plays in big moments, but I'm not sure. There's something.
What about Cam Ward? Cam Ward about to tear the ACC up.
You know, I'm going to tell you this. Cam Ward, to me, is one of those guys. He's in that Spencer Rattler boat for me. His ceiling in terms of what he could do with Miami, through the roof. But there's also a part of me that feels like you don't even want to be at Miami. They paid you a ton of money. You got word from draft evaluators that you were about a fourth round guy, maybe worse, and said, all right, I guess I'll take an M or two to go play with y'all boys. That's my problem with him. And Miami has always had problems about having so much talent, but no cohesion. All the talent in the world, but they can't figure out a way to rally together and make it happen. And do you know what makes that exponentially harder? When the face of your program, when the guy that's going to be doing all the interviews, when the guy that's going to be at ACC Media Days, everybody's question is going to be, so why did you actually come to Miami? What made you withdraw from the NFL draft? And I don't think he'll have a sufficient answer, not only for the people outside, but it's not the water outside the boat that matters. It's the water that gets in. And inside that locker room, I don't think that they believe that he's that committed and that bought in, which will then create bigger problems for Miami. But if everything works out well for him and they do believe him in the locker room and they do have all the good feelings for him, hey, I could be wrong. Because again, he's another one of those guys. Talent for talent, everything is there. The arm, the running, the decision-making is surprisingly good. It's surprisingly good for a quarterback that's as athletic as he is. But again, that idea of will your teammates play for you? Will you elevate them another level because they say, this is my guy. I'll run through a brick wall for him. I'll die for him.
All right. The Wolf Pack. This or that. Will they be? Hey, look, Jordan Waters, transfer. Noah Rogers at wide receiver, transfer. Ultimate question, who in the heck is the quarterback? Who's going to be the quarterback for the
Grayson McCall going to be the quarterback. Grayson McCall going to be the guy.
They did get Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina.
Grayson McCall, yeah, 100 touchdowns.
Wait a minute, you left. You hear? He said that with his chest.
100.
He said Grayson McCall going to be the quarterback.
Unless they got Grayson McCall running that system. Unless they got Grayson McCall at Coastal Carolina in a different color. I don't know how he's going to work out in 1 year.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about the see, because I already knew Malik was gonna go that. I already knew Malik was gonna go that. Because you know what? Malik is Silky Johnson reincarnated. He got Player Hater of the Year 3 years in a row. I remember, Detroit is where the players' ball is, and Akron is where the player haters.
That's why we didn't
Akron
take
is where the player haters' ball is. And I remember when I went through there, I saw Malik outside shining Gators, said, "Your Gators ain't nothing. You ain't nothing."
But literally, we
in here for real. You don't hate like that.
Out there looking like a pimp named Fishback.
Exactly. He was telling me,
But y'all really took a system guy, not a standalone talented guy. Like if y'all got Dylan Gabriel, I'd be like, okay, y'all got something. Y'all got a guy that ran a system and got famous off of it. That's like switching a rock star to pop.
Here's my only thing, and I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna leave it right here. When Tim Beck got the job at Coastal Carolina, Wolfpack fans celebrated him leaving. They celebrated him leaving, right? Now, when Coach Drinkwitz got the job at App State, when he became the head coach, Wolfpack fans said, "Man, we're sad to see you go, but we know you're going to be great." And he did. He's proven everybody right. He has gone on to be great. Everybody celebrated when Tim Beck left, and he's proven everybody right. He has proven everybody right that is who he is. That man could not coach his way out of a paper bag. I want to know who his agent is, and I need them in my life. Because if I could fail forward with women like he does, with jobs, I'll be married to Serena Williams in 3 months. Flat. I know she's married, but wishful thinking. That's neither here nor there. The reality is very simple, okay? Grayson McCall is not the reason I have NC State being an 18th ranked team in the country. Tony Gibson in that defense, I say all the time, he could put out 10 sentient Roombas and one really good linebacker, and they'd get some stops. They'd find a way to get some stops, okay? And beyond that, you look at the offense, and Robert Anae loves him some big bodies that can run. He loves him some tight ends, some tall, lanky wide receivers and all that. Mm-hmm. God rest his soul. What he did with Davis at Virginia, it was so special. What he did with Jelani Woods at Virginia, it was so special because he had guys who he's not exactly from that Mike Leach, hey, we want to make them cover space system, but he uses some of those same principles and he forces teams to cover all over the field. The problem with NC State's offense last year, with all due respect, the NC State, the wide receiver coverage, they lot like mine in my new apartment. Barren, ain't nothing up there. Ain't nothing in there, okay? I just moved, so don't nobody judge me, okay? But, yeah, that's the reality of what was going on there. So I think Robert Anae, Dave Doran, and Coach Gibson, I think they can have this team at 18. I don't think that the ACC is particularly strong. I don't think that their schedule is all that tough. I think that they'll find a way to end up at this point. And mind you, I was told by everybody because I predicted NC State would win 9 games last year. When they were 4-3 and lost to Duke, everybody called me everything but a good Christian. They called me a fool. They said, oh, you just part of the Sunshine Committee. Oh, you just love Dave because he recruited you. I said, I don't dance unless I hear music. I don't scratch my head unless it itches. Let's trust the process. Oh, they're not going to win another game. 5 games later, 9-3. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm just saying, this NC State team finishing at 18, that's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous to say that.
Right here, Lucky Lefty Network, patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Go over there now. Part 1, the Deuce Night interview on the reverse spin with myself and Malik ZAIRE is up. Part 2 drops Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't miss it. Sign up, patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Three's Company, first episode posted next week. Giving you a little tease tonight. This or that. We just finished that segment. And so every show we're going to end with another segment. Told you. And I'm going to jump it off. Told you. Left, didn't I tell you that Neek wasn't dead on Canaan, bro? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you when they showed him being rolled down the hill by his brother Ronnie?
They should have had him shoot Ronnie.
I told you, Left. I said he is not dead. I said he and Rock are in contact. And as soon as I saw the camera view that looked like somebody was watching him go into the building, I knew right then. I said, oh, we got something coming in this season finale. And then when I saw the Tims walk in and stand next to the body of Ronnie after Kanan shot him dead, that's all I wanted. I said, that's how you end the season. I just want to tell everybody that I told you. I told you. That's how it was going to end. And I told you Meek wasn't dead. He's too big of a character to kill off. Not yet. Not yet. Because it has to come down between him and Kanan at some point. That's what it has to come down to. Him and Kanan wins. But Left, I told you. KG, is there anything that you said that you can look back and say, hey, this week I told you?
Well, this ain't to y'all two in particular, but it's to all of the folks on social media who tried to jump me when I said this. Club Shay Shay is gossip for men, and we need to admit that. It blows up because men like gossip just as much as women. They just do it in a masculine way. And nobody wanted to acknowledge that. Everybody said, oh, you hate no Shay Shay. Like, what I got to hate on Shay Shay? That's a Hall of Famer. That's an accomplished broadcaster. That's a man that's been there, done it all. I aspire to be where he is. I aspire to be in that level and in that mode. But we got to be honest about this thing. The View, when they do the gossip and the talk and all that, they do it in a way that's perceived. I'm a communications major, so I'm gonna help y'all out. Okay, there's a thing called proxemics. It's how space between people influences communication. The View do communication in a way that is feminine. Most talk shows do. All the hosts sit next to each other in a circle to inform collaboration. When you see that, you think these people are talking together with one another to do collaboration. Club Shay Shay, where are they always sitting? Directly across from each other. We're either doing competition or camaraderie. What's between them when they sitting across from each other? Some alcoholic beverages. You know what alcohol is known for? Accelerating the process of competition or camaraderie. I told everybody that show is gossip for men, and it's okay. It's all right if you like a little gossip, fellas. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't let society box you in. If that's what you enjoy, I don't judge it. I don't judge it. I'm right there with you. It's a great show. They get into things if you want to watch and laugh, if you want to watch it, I'm just saying they got episodes for everything. So y'all could jump me if you want. Y'all criticize me, but you know what? They criticize Jesus too. I'm just saying.
Left, told you.
Yeah, it was real. But now we gotta wait what? A whole 6 months now?
For
the new power.
Oh, dude,
I was about to say
you behind, bro. KG's moved on to his told you with Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay being a gossip column.
But that's not his. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's not his fault though. Club Shay Shay he's just doing his job, man.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying he's bad or he's a bad guy for doing. See, and you see what he just did there? See, let me help y'all out with some more communications. There's a pejorative connotation on gossip for men. When men hear gossip, we hear what you mean
all of a
gossip?
sudden, like what you mean gossip? Yeah. Like it's an attack. Let me tell you something.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. We enjoy it just as much as never. ESPN wouldn't be 24 hours if we didn't enjoy a little gossip. I'm just saying it wouldn't be 24 because we wouldn't care about why Andre Rison's house was burnt down. That was one of the biggest stories in sports when it happened. That wasn't related to his play on the field at all. But when it happened, everybody was, so wait, Lisa Lopez did what? God rest her soul. She did what? You know, we love hearing about this stuff. I'm just saying.
Left, what's your told you from this past week?
Oh, man. This past week, it's been a lot of drama. I think the Larsa Pippen and Jordan's son is pretty crazy, and their beef with Mace. I mean, they took it pretty serious. So
you did predict that they wouldn't last. You did predict that.
And they made a year seem long for sure.
They did make a year seem like they had been together a lifetime. I wonder if one of her parting gifts is a lifetime box coming from Jordan for some shoes.
Did she get the lifetime shoe deal before it's over?
You know, that whole thing was nasty work from the beginning. Your ex-husband's teammate's child? I understand he's a consensual.
Your ex-babysitter.
And listen, I get it.
Hey, I had a babysitter I had a crush on when I was a shorty, though.
Here's the thing, right? The Threes Company podcast, we don't want to lose our clean rating. We don't want to scare no advertisers away. But we all, I'm sure, or let me not even say we all, let me talk about me. I've dabbled in certain types of content that divulge, pushing that babysitter you have a crush on thing to the limits. I understand that. As a marriage in real life, that's insane. The fact that that's your ex-husband's teammate's child adds another layer to it where it's just like, what, baby, what is you doing? What is you doing? It was nasty work from the beginning, and it's ending as nasty work, despite how far they took it.
Lucky Lefty Podcast and also Lucky Lefty Network, Threes Company teas tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed. Look, man, I'm going to say it like this. In the craziness that exists right now, I hope we all can find a common ground and a common place in our souls and our spirits to make sure that we pray for those that suffered tragedy yesterday in Kansas City and those that might be suffering elsewhere in the world when it comes to senseless violence. I'm not here to debate, make it political. I'm here as a human being. And at the end of the day, safety should be something we all feel as we wake up and leave our homes, no matter what our destination is. And unfortunately, safety seems to be one of the things that we have to worry about the most in 2024. So send your prayers, send your condolences, and let's continue to push forward and try to be the best that we can, not only for ourselves, but for each other. All right? For Left, Sean Davis, my guy, KG Ken Gibbs. We'll see you next time. And if you sign up, I forgot, special gift to all of those this week that sign up over at patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. The Malik cookbook is here. That's right. Malik's cookbook. If you sign up this week, you will receive Malik's cookbook. The Malik ZAIRE cookbook is available now. You sign up this week on Patreon, you'll get it courtesy of Lucky Lefty Network. Man, we see you guys. Most of all, make sure that you continue to spin it absolutely different. Yeah. Enjoy your Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Lucky Lefty Podcast.